Now, having understood the idea of or the concept of cell referencing, we now just look at a very small example here. So if we look at this table, you will find that there is a gross, which is nothing but the rate into quantity. Now, I want to give a 10% rebate on the gross, and I want to give it for all the items. So how would we go about it? Now, basically, we need to pick up that 10% from here and not type it manually. So we'll say no problem. I'll say is equal to gross and then multiply it by the 10% here. So I'll refer for my 10% to this cell, which is E12. And my gross value is in D13. So here I am doing what is called as relative referencing because there is no dollar here. So now I say enter and you can see 120. So then what we need to do? We just need to copy this to these cells. Oh God, what is this? This is showing me some weird value. Now this is because of the fact that we have used relative referencing here. Now when we drag this, it says D14 into 120. So D14 into 120 is that value. And then we come here, this into this. Why? Because as we are dragging, the formula changes. And therefore, it refers here. It should have referred here all the time. So if I want to make it refer here all the time, what should I do? I should do absolute referencing for this cell. So how would we do absolute referencing for this cell? Very simple. You'll go here and you want this cell, which is referred to by E12. This is E12. I want that to be fixed. So I'll use function F4 and that I made absolute. And then when I say enter, it says 120, which is the 10% of 1200. Then I drag it down or I copy it and I get the correct result, which is nothing but 400 and 200. So here, if you look, it is always referring to $E, $12. However, the one which is having relative reference, it is changing as we are dragging. Right? Or you could have done the same thing here. Okay. So what you would have done here, in case of 15%, you would have said equal to, and then what? And then this into this. Select this and say function F4 or simply F4 and say enter 180 and drag. So I am getting the correct answers. I am getting as per my requirement. But now suppose I don't want to write two formulas, one for 10% and one for 15%. I want one formula for all these 6 cells, right? So how should I go about it? Let's see. So here, I need to think that in this formula, when I drag to the right, it should automatically pick up 15%, right? And when I drag it down, it should pick up the gross. So I will now allow this to happen. Okay. Now this if I happen, now if I drag it to the right, E will become F and then it will pick up the 15% from this column rather than this column. Now let's see if I put this dollar and then I drag, what happens? Now if I drag, so it's 12. Now it's referred to this cell, right? For its value. So as I'm dragging, it is changing this D13 to E13. And what is E13? 120. And what is 10% of 120? 12. So it should always refer to this and to this when it is here and to this 15% when it is here. So how do I do that? I come here And I say that, okay, don't change this. So don't change D to E when I'm dragging it to the right. However, change this E to F, but don't change the row when I'm dragging it down. So don't change D when I'm dragging it to the right. However, change E to F when I'm dragging it to the right. That's what it is. And this is what is mixed referencing. Now we can do a mixed referencing by using function key as well. By clicking on this and say function FO one time, so it will be relative. Second, it is absolute. Third, it is the row which is blocked. Fourth, it is the column which is blocked. So this way you can use shortcut as well. And here what we have done, we have blocked D. And here we have blocked the row. So let's see. Yeah, perfect. So 15% of 1200 is 80. Now can I do it for all? Let's see. Yeah. So this is 15% of 4000. And so here we have to just write one formula by using cell referencing technique. And that formula works for all the 6 cells. We don't need to write 2 different formulas. Now look at this example. In this example, I want that I should get a rebate of 25%. So it's not mentioned anywhere. It is just this 25% which I want to give to all. Now, how do I do? Very simple. I say equal to, then this into, select this. And this should not change when I drag. So, function or simply FO, and this will be $. So this gives me 300, which is 25% of 1200. And then when I drag this, it always defer to that. So 25% of 400, and 4000 is 1000. So I hope this is clear, because this is a very, very important concept to learn before we go into some advanced formulas and functions, because we need to refer to cells either through relative, which most of the time you do, but there are times when we will be using absolute and mixed referencing as well. I hope this would have given you an idea about cell referencing.